U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio was the center of attention at the Munich Security Summit, as European leaders wondered apprehensively what tone he would strike in his remarks on Saturday. While his speech did not fully allay their concerns, it has been viewed as a reassurance to allies that while U.S. relations may have frayed under Donald Trump, they will not break. Rubio's was not the only American political voice at the Security Summit, however, and even if the Secretary of State's remarks had not been so well received, if he had sharply criticized Europeans the way Vice President J.D. Vance did at the conference last year, there were other American politicians doing their best on impression of the Persian poet counseling, "This too shall pass." "If there's nothing else I can communicate today," California Governor Gavin Newsom said at a conference event on Friday, "Donald Trump is temporary. He'll be gone in 3 years." Newsom was just one of dozens of American legislators and governors in attendance, including some Democrats, like the Californian, who may contend for their party's 2028 presidential nomination. Many emphasized that the U.S. would continue to be a strong partner with Europe, lines similar to those offered by Rubio, but unleavened by his criticism of cultural decline on the continent. "The reason we're here is to provide reassurance that we understand how important our European allies are," Democratic Senator Jen Shaheen of New Hampshire said. A Republican in attendance, Senator Tom Tillis, echoed her, noting that the U.S. and Europe were not in a civil war. He cautioned American allies not to get caught up in the rhetoric of American politics. That has been easier said than done recently, as Trump has imposed steep tariffs on many U.S. trading partners, and he and some of his top aides have been blunt in their desire to reshape the international order, use American military power, and refocus American foreign policy on the Western Hemisphere. The president's designs on Greenland, which he repeated before departing the White House for a weekend in Florida on Friday, have been only the most jarring example of the shift in the American outlook. Trump's willingness to push boundaries and test the limits of his power has not been limited to foreign affairs, and several Democrats took time in Munich to address more domestic concerns. Virginia Senator Mark Warner warned that the president's talk of nationalizing elections and instituting stringent identity requirements for voting via executive order mean the freedom and fairness of November's midterm congressional elections are at stake. "I never thought I would say that in 2026 America," he said. Trump has defended his effort in the SAVE Act, which would implement a national voter identification requirement legislatively, as both popular with a sizable majority of Americans and necessary to prevent voter impersonation at the ballot box. Senators Mark Kelly and Alyssa Slotkin, who were the focus of a recent unsuccessful indictment attempt by the Department of Justice for their video urging U.S. soldiers to disregard illegal orders, both commented on being in the administration's spotlight. "America," Slotkin said, "was going through something profound," before adding, "We'll get through it."